Coming to you from the historic Hart Building in Marysville, California, in Studio 93, in the Tank with Fish, with your host, Bob Fischetti.
Hey, this is Fish, and this is the first episode of, we've had In the Tank with Fish, but now I have an incredible co-host. I think she's incredible. And so, and my testimony of credibility is so way up there. You know, I'm telling you the truth. So I have Kelly Trudell. Kelly, we're going to have a good time, huh?
I am really looking forward to this.
We were like talking about it, like how, what are we going to do and how are we going to do it? And we were even thinking about guests, and we're making lists and who are we going to talk to in the neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
And our first guest, I'm excited about this because we found this out by accident.
That's the best way sometimes.
Yeah, so it's going to be really fun. So you had a good week so far? I mean, we're like not far into the week, but how was your weekend, your bread making?
It was a busy weekend. It was First Market. And so that was super busy. Bread making is great. We're 100 plus loaves a week. Wow. So, the sleep, not so much, but bread making is great.
Well, when I was a kid, when somebody was making bread, it meant they were getting paid.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm making bread. Well, you're literally making bread.
I'm getting paid to make bread. Yeah.
Make bread. Listen, I want to say this. Where was I at? We were at some event. Oh, it was the Thursdays on 3rd.
Yeah.
And I'm like in there, man, you make all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
It's not just bread.
No.
When you said, I make bread, I thought that was it. And then you told me when we actually had the interview, you said, I experiment.
Yeah.
I make stuff and
whatever. If somebody requests something, I'll make it. Yeah.
So who gets to eat the mistakes?
The boys, my kids. They have the really tough job of being taste tester. And they'll tell you, they're so honest about it. Like, no, Mom, not so much. Or, yeah, that's my favorite. And they have no idea how good they have it.
Nobody's buying that, Mom. There's no bread making on that one.
I don't think they have actually, I don't think there's been anything that hasn't passed the mark yet. So
wow.
We'll see. I know. There's things that aren't their favorite, but I think that's also,
but they can still tell
it's 12
good.
and 14-year-old. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's certain things like if you use certain things in the bread, like if you made bread made out of peas, it ain't happening for me.
No.
Artichokes are not happening.
No.
Okra is not happening.
No.
Even spinach, as much as I like spinach.
You can use the bread for spinach dip, and I'm okay with that, but not maybe spinach in the bread.
Yeah.
Yeah. How was your weekend?
So you're telling me you're not taking my ideas on how to make anything, right?
No. So Fish is no longer on the board, the advisory board for bread.
Man, I had a great time. I got a lot of stuff done. This is that season, a little bit of, allergy stuff going on. And tried to mow my lawn and it was like, where's my grandkids? That's what you have grandkids for.
Yeah.
Mow your lawn, take care of stuff, You
can borrow my 14-year-old anytime, but he eats a lot.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if he knows he's getting paid, though, he'll be less, right? He'll be like, I can do this.
I don't know. No, yeah. He eats a lot. If you feed him, he'll mow your lawn, no problem.
That's my grandson that just turned 15. My son was telling me, I can't keep food in the house.
Yeah.
I bring it in and he is like a human garbage disposal.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, son, I hate to tell you this, but when you were 15, you were just like that.
Yeah.
It's that growth spurt, man, where you got to eat.
It's just nonstop. I swear they eat from the time they get home from school until it's bedtime. I'm like, do they not feed you at school? I know they feed you. And I sent you with a lunch. And it doesn't matter. You just can't keep up.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always thought when my wife came to me and said, I want to have kids. And I'm like, okay. I mean, honestly, there was no thinking that through. It's just, sure, why not? Let's do that, right?
Yeah.
And then as they grow, you're like, God, I'm responsible for this.
Yeah.
So are you excited? We got a guest coming in.
I'm super excited.
That I didn't know anything about this. I had an opportunity to talk to Brian a little bit about it, about the Ironman competition. And but I was like totally like, what? I didn't even know you hear about it. But man, when you find out what's involved in, which we're going to do, my fear is that you will immediately apply.
Right?
Yeah,
I'm like, I love a good challenge.
Sorry, kids, I can't make bread. I'm running triathlon
I've
this
got
weekend.
training.
I'm in training. Right? I can't even eat the bread I make, right? Anyway, we'll be right back. We're going to have Brian Danielson in. I'm excited about this. I met Brian because of his occupation. He is a police officer, CHP to be exact. But we ended up in a conversation about running, and he really talked about how much he loved running. I never realized he was talking about serious running. He wasn't talking about this. So anyway, we'll be right back with Brian Danielson and be talking about the Ironman competition.
Hi, my name is Denise Landis, and I am the owner of Edible Memories Bakery here on 3rd Street in downtown Marysville. We facilitated the market every Thursday on 3rd. We have food trucks, vendors, and live music every Thursday from 3 to 7:30 here on the corner of 3rd and D Street in downtown historic Marysville. Our vision was to bring an atmosphere of community, and that takes you coming out and joining in the fun with us. We hope to see you here.
We'd like to welcome you guys back. We have Brian Danielson on, and we are chatting all about Ironman.
Well, that and a little bit more. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, you look kind of like an Iron Man. I saw the movie.
Yeah, it's been a big change for me so far. So December I weighed 230 pounds, and now I weigh 189. God. And that's just base training. It's not. I just really started ramping up my Ironman training in April.
Wow.
And it's been phenomenal. Losing that much weight, and then also, there's the less knee pain and all the other stuff that goes along with carrying that extra stuff that you don't need.
What started it? What
started it?
I need to know, what made you get up one day and say,
it was
Iron Man?
It was a bunch of stuff, really. It was it goes back to we at the Highway Patrol we do the checkpoints and road closures for the California International Marathon. Mm-hmm. And 2 Decembers ago, 2 marathons ago, I was at this intersection of Fair Oaks and Bruce, and about 20 and a half miles into the course. And it's always exciting to see the first competitors come through, because they're like the elites that are running, and they're running 5+ minute mile paces for that marathon. And when I see the first couple guys go by, I'm like, they're like gazelles. Yeah. They're just still running. At fast speed too. And then about the 9th guy in, I'm like, I know that guy. He runs by. It was Warren G. Boyle, the River Valley cross country and track coach. He coaches my son. That's how I know him. Yeah. So I'm like, I didn't know he was that fast. And he qualified for the Olympic marathon trials out of that race. He ran the marathon in 2 hours and 16 minutes or some ungodly thing like that. And I come like, okay, that's kind of cool. I can't compete with him because he's a marathoner. He's just straight up like that, and I'm just sitting there like a fat dumb cop, and just sitting there closing the intersection. And it was this last Ironman, California Ironman, that we also volunteered as the cross country team to work in the transition zone, which is where the bikes are kept. Mm-hmm. So they come off the swim. The competitors do. They go to the bike area, the bike racks. They change into their gear for biking, and then they go off, and then they're gone for hours and hours and hours biking. And, just kind of just seeing the swim. It's a 2.4 mile swim. They start in the American River up above Discovery Park. They go into Sacramento River, and then they come out, and then they have to run from pretty much the Tower Bridge over to the, baseball field area where the bikes are. And seeing some of these people, they're sculpted athletes. Yeah. They are these guys are absolute, their physique is amazing, and their conditioning is impeccable. And I'm like, these guys are awesome. These guys are awesome. And then that was about 45 minutes for that swim. And these are the elite people coming in. And then about an hour and 50 minutes in, I'm starting to look at these people's physiques, and I'm like, I could do this. I could do this. And
then it clicked.
There's people of all body types, shapes. There's age groups. There's people who are 80 years old running this thing. Yeah. And I'm like, if they can do it, why can't I? Yeah. So I started kicking it around in October, and just kind of kicked it down and mentioned it to a couple people that I knew, then not too many people. And I finally made the decision. It was just one person I just mentioned it to. I'm like, hey, I'm thinking about doing the Ironman, and just turned around and said, do it. It was just the way it was said. It was just the inflection in the voice, and it was kind of motivating. So I said, okay, yeah, I'll fork over the $900 for the entry fee. It's expensive to enter that thing.
Yeah, because they don't want you backing out.
Yeah. Well, they don't know. And they want the money too.
Yeah.
But they figure if you put the money in, you're going to do it.
It's a corporation. Yeah, it's a corporation. But I finally paid the entry fee, and then so that kind of gave me the motivation to work out. But the worst thing was to really motivate me was I actually told people that I did it.
Yeah.
And now it's like I have to do it. It's just one of those things that the way I work and if.
So, Brian, what exactly is the competition? You mentioned swimming, biking, running. Is that the three major parts of it?
Well, yes, and not dying. Yeah. And, or drowning. It's always a key. Yeah, surviving. You got to pass the finish line alive. No weekend at Bernie stuff or anything. But it starts off with a 2.4 mile swim. Starts around 7 a.m. And then whenever you finish that, there are some hard cutoff times, but I shouldn't have an issue with that. And then you transition to the bike. It's a 112 mile bike ride through the valley. It's a couple loops and then makes 112 miles. And then you park your bike and change into your running clothes and run a marathon. It's nothing big.
No big deal. It's only 26.2.
26.2.
26.2 after doing the swim. And
Yeah.
Well, they say you could.
Who are these people? Oh, they're Ironmen. That's what. Who are they?
So if you break it down, it's manageable if you train appropriately, and there's training plans, usually 6-month training plans, but it's a time sink is what it is, and a money sink. I didn't realize how much cardiovascular exercise cost in current capacity, but I'm at least I think 5,000 to 6,000 in right now.
Wow,
with the bike and everything.
So the scoring, if you will, of it. Is the actual time in swimming, actual time, the changing clothes? I mean, is it all part of one fell swoop and you finish?
Start to finish.
Yep.
Oh, so
you change fast.
Yeah.
So
wow.
There's transition times, T1 and T2, and they're timed, and it's usually the people who are really fighting for there's a couple professionals, there's a handful of professionals that actually race in it and get money. And the rest of us just fork over our money, but then
to pay them.
And then there's the podium chasers, the ones who are looking for first, second, third in their age class or the age and sex class. But I mean, those are the ones that are really focusing on changing as fast as they can and going and they have the highest end bikes they can and newest shoes or whatever they have. But it's 17 hours from start to finish. Wow. That's the time limit. So you got about till midnight to cross the line there at the state capitol for in the shoot area is what they call it.
I'd be good, except for I just would have to figure out where do I take my nap,
right? Or pick up your taxi.
Where do I get the Uber? Right.
Well, if you do good enough on the bike, you could take your nap time during transition too. Yeah.
So, did you have any training going into have you ever run a marathon or a 5K?
Yes.
Okay.
I've run half.
Cap? Where's your cap?
So half marathon is what I ran before.
So
and that was 10 years ago. The Spirit Half Marathon here in the Sutter Buttes actually was.
Okay.
And I've actually ran a little bit further than that. I can't remember the exact mileage because I was in the Marines and they didn't really tell us. And
You're just running.
They just told you to run.
Yeah.
They didn't tell you how fast.
And that wasn't really an enjoyable time for running.
No.
Was the Marines, but it got the point across and it got the mission accomplished.
So what about swim experience? So you've had some running.
My swim experience was, I'm the worst person to do this Ironman thing. I had zero real swim experience other than sitting in a pool and getting a sunburn.
On a floaty, yeah.
Yeah, on a floaty, yeah. That was my swim experience. And I started in January swimming.
Wow. So did you get a coach? Did you have somebody
not really.
train you?
It's YouTube, yeah. I had one session and that was it. And then rest was YouTube and kind of figuring stuff out on my own. Like today, I swam this morning, 2,500 yards, which is a bunch of lengths of the pool over there. It's a lot, but I just look at my watch. I'm like, okay, I'm done, 2,500 meters. But the pace was a minute and 36 seconds per 100 yards, which and I started at about 210, 215 when I
Wow.
started in January. So I've dropped my pace a lot, and actually an hour, 1 minute and 36-second pace per 100 miles or per 100 yards is pretty darn good.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I can't talk sometimes.
So, so that's what I was wondering. You had to look at, because you said it's age group. So you're in a specific group, right?
Yeah, I'm in the 40. Sorry, I'm dating myself here. 45 to 49 age group.
And so within that group, you can look up and say, this is the standard, right? This is the one, and then it gives you a target. So you had to have a target somewhere. Or were you just targeting, I just want to end alive? I mean, what were you going for?
I originally wanted to just finish it.
Yeah.
And once I started training and realizing, okay, I can swim, and then I had to buy a bike too. So I've never really, I've never done road bike stuff or anything. So I had to do that. And I've never rode long distances. I have a mountain bike, but 8 miles is usually the longest, or maybe 20, I think, is my longest on my mountain bike. But once I started realizing, I'm like, okay, I could do this with my distances that I've been going lately. And I'm like, I'm going to go all in right now. Like there's the book I have right here in front of me is the Be Iron Fit. It's got 3 different training plans in there. One's for competitive and one's for just, average. And then the other one's it's literally called Just Finish. And they have different, and it's really based on
live through this.
That's
Make
him.
sure
I'm competitive.
my wife would be going, honey, is your insurance premiums paid? And do they cover this?
Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
Yeah. So I started really with the middle of the road one, but I've switched to the competitive one for the actual workups. And average right now, I started about 8 hours per week of cardio. And then right now I'm at 9. And that equates from the beginning of the month, about 190 miles of distance I've traveled either on the bike or running or swimming.
How are you feeling?
Horrible.
Really?
No, not really. Actually, really good.
Don't you? And has your food intake gone through the roof?
It's nuts. So on my long bike rides, I've gone 56 miles so far, and I did that and a 10-mile run right after it. So I did 56-mile bike ride and 10-mile run over in the American River Bike Trail, and I think I burned about 2,800 calories, and I was starving.
Yeah, you've got to replenish all of that. We were talking about teenagers earlier and how much they eat. Like your poor wife now, you're a teenager again who is probably blowing through 5,000 calories on training days.
It depends, yeah. I mean, I eat whatever I want. I don't have a diet. I just eat until I'm not hungry, and I still lose weight. It's great.
Kelly has an ulterior motive. She thinks you need to eat more bread.
But that's fine. It's carbohydrates.
and she knows where you can get it.
So carbs are actually good for the Ironman because that's what you're burning in the long long distance endurance stuff. Yeah,
for your run day.
That's an interesting thing. Is there eating along the way, energy bar or something? Because you can't be burning up. Right, and not putting something back in.
Yeah, you have to be taking stuff all throughout the course. And they have gels, they have mixes, they have people bring bananas. Uncrustables are really popular.
Hard-boiled eggs are super popular.
That sounds horrible.
I know. But they are, though. In the marathon world, it's oddly popular.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're looking at trying to replenish the calories you're burning, and you're always going to have a negative calorie deficit, compared to what you're being able to intake. But, sodium levels drop with the sweat loss, and you have to replenish that, like electrolytes and other things like that, magnesium levels, potassium levels. I mean, that's why people are eating bananas. Yeah. I mean, you prevent cramping. And a cramp is a terrible thing on a bike or something like that. If your calf cramps up. No, that's fine. Your wetsuit will probably keep you laced up to where the authorities can recover your body. But no, it's just, they also have rescue kayakers out there looking for everybody who's struggling. So it's kind of safe.
So how many people, Brian, start? If at the beginning of one, is there they only allow so many, or
it's about 2,000 to 3,000 depending on the event.
And do most people finish?
No, half don't.
Wow,
about half.
Wow. So I wouldn't feel bad if I started and got through the first 5 or 6 strokes swimming and went, okay, I entered.
Rescue kayak.
So
kayak
fish, and you'll be okay until you look at your bank account and said, I spent how much on this?
To swim 50 feet, that's not right. Well, so growing up, because you grew up here, right?
Yeah, for most of my life, yeah.
And so growing up, were you athletic at all? I mean, were you involved in sports or
bowling?
But
is that a sport? I don't want to start. I don't want to start anything.
Yeah.
I mean, wow,
we're
what a great sport! Yeah.
Sending email. Why does Kelly hate bowling?
I love bowling.
I was about 130 pounds in high school, so I decided to play or shot put and discus.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that seemed natural instead of running. You know, might as well be with the big kids and throw a shot put.
So,
Not
you're really your first physical challenge was the core.
In terms of pure physical fitness. Yeah. And I was still pretty fit, you know, when I was young. I did enough to not, you know, I mean, I think I went in the Marines at 140 pounds.
Yeah.
And left at 165. And that left boot camp in 13 weeks. So
that's what happened to me. I went in, I was 136, I think, and left at 165. And my family was like, "Who are you?"
Yeah.
And
Greek god is what I am now. Yeah.
I have built muscle.
But you do find I thought I ate a lot before I went in. But man, when you're doing that, you eat a lot. That's why I thought that was interesting to ask, do you eat? And I was thinking, well, do you eat on the run, right?
Yeah, you have to. Fueling is one of like the biggest issues with ultra marathoners. Or it's like if you're not fueling properly, your body just shuts down. And those are the people that are like side of the road, space blanket.
Mile 20 on the marathon it's called a bonk. Is when your levels drop so much that your body can't keep going. It revolts and it says, I'm done. I'm quitting.
I don't care what you think.
Yeah.
We're ending here.
And you're trying to prevent that by taking in those calories and those gels.
Well, I know the military had these little packets that you put in just your water, right? And they would revitalize you pretty quick. I don't know what was in them.
You might not want
testing.
But I do know that once you drank that, I mean, it was a comeback. You were good to go, you know.
No, there's some of the stuff that's out there that's this very similar for this, and there's on-course nutrition, this stuff at the rest stops and stuff. They have rest stops. They have bathrooms and stuff there that are there. And then they have like tables with bananas and energy drinks, not energy drinks, but like sports drinks. It was Gatorade and they switched to another company now.
Liquid IV. It's now some other hydration.
Yeah. Something to keep you.
But what do you do?
I think it's Mortal Hydration is what they switched to.
Which sounds terrible.
I've never tried it, and I have to buy it now because I have to get my body used to it.
Out. Yeah. So that was part of what I was going to ask. What do you do mentally wise to train? Because you know that aside from the physical, like the physical your body can do, it's the mental part, getting over it. How do you train for that? And what have you run into so far while training?
I've run into not wanting to train anymore. No, I mean, as longest bike ride right now is 3.5 hours. And I'm supposed to be getting up to about 5 to 6. And at my pace, I should be hitting the 112 miles in 5 hours, 5.5 hours. So I should be getting to that level at a certain point. And that is a lot of mind. It's just a lot of just you out there for a long time. Alone with a lot of physical exertion. So it's really a race with your mind is what it is. It's not, you're really not racing anybody else. You're racing yourself at that point. And you just got to, I mean, if I'm inside on my Peloton, then I'll be honestly watching Netflix or movies or, you know, shows or something like that. But if I'm out there on my road bike, I'm just sitting there admiring the beautiful Sutter Buttes or whatever I'm riding through. The American River Bike Trail is phenomenal. If nobody's been there, it is awesome. I wish this place had something similar to that. I mean, our bike trail is it's kindergarten compared to that place.
Well, they've had a lot of years to work on that.
Yeah.
Thing's amazing. Yeah.
I mean, when it's like a 72 mile there and back from Beals Point in Folsom Lake, and it's elevation gain, elevation descent, and it's there's no cross traffic. You have very little cross traffic you're dealing with. You're not, I mean, there's underpasses, you know, for the overpasses that are there, all the vehicle traffic, you're not dealing with it, except for in parking lots that are for that facility. Yeah. But other than that, I mean, it's one of the safest places to ride and not get run over.
Yeah.
Running over would be horrible.
Yeah, that would not be a good thing.
My son rode for a while with Sacramento Wheelman. And then when he came up here, he rode. And within the first 3 months that he was in Yuba City, he got hit 3 times.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Riding. And it's like, you know, and it's just, whatever area you're in, you know, some people watch. I mean, I learned to ride motorcycles in Japan. And so I was like, you know, they watch out for it. I mean, people carry everything on their motorcycle, right? You know, I came back to the States and I was like, man, they don't even know you exist, right? Yeah. So I can imagine a bicycle's even worse, right? You know?
Yeah. I got a red flashing light on the back, and, you know, they do have Garmin does have a rear light that has a radar built into it. So it'll let you know on your computer, on your bike, that there's a car approaching within 100 feet. That's kind of cool.
Good.
That's kind of cool. I don't have that yet. So I've had a couple close calls already. And that was, one of them was completely my fault. And I was on Pass Road going to West Butte, turning into West Butte. I was in the middle of the lane, and I looked in my mirror. I have a mirror in my helmet, and I looked, and there was no car behind me. And I even signaled left. I knew there was nobody there. And then I started turning left, and right on my right was a Mustang that passed me about 50 miles an hour. And, you know, just right beside me in the same lane that I was in. I'm like, and I didn't even see it.
Wow.
So that was my fault. So I checked many, many more times now.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the worst road to ride on is going around the Buttes, coming back on the east side, southbound is Township Road or Tierra Buena. Mm-hmm. Those are the worst ones. That's the only time people don't pass, you know, give bicyclists room. I've told a couple people they're number one before, and they weren't very happy with me. I'm like, whatever, I'm not happy with you. I mean, it's one out of each ride. It's not like every car does it.
Yeah.
It's one person out of each ride. So white Honda Pilot, I'll find you one day. That was my most recent one.
You need a little plaque on the back that says "My other job." My other.
Oh
vehicle.
no, they'd run me over then.
Yeah, you don't want that target.
So you brought a couple of books with you, and you mentioned in this one that they gave you choices, right? You could just finish. Did you just blow that chapter off and go right into I'm gonna?
No, I took it. I read it. I looked at it, and I said, you know, okay, that's doable. And, you know, that's honestly, you know, I was in that mindset of like, I just want to finish in the 17 hours.
Yeah.
And then I started realizing, like, no, I actually kind of want to finish before the sun goes down. And now it's just like, I just want to see how well I can do. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know I'm paying for the whole 17 hours, and it feels weird to not take the whole 17 hours and try to finish as fast as I can. But, you know, I also don't want to be out there for 17 hours.
Yeah.
And going crazy.
Day.
Yeah.
I hate to ask this, but is there a participant certificate? I mean, if you finish, I mean, is there
get a medal? He wants to know.
Say this right, because they're like, everybody wins. We're all participants.
You have earned it.
If you finish 17 miles,
17 hours.
17 hours. I'm sorry. Yeah,
miles that's easy.
Yeah.
He did that this morning. He did that on the stairs while he was coming up to the studio.
Came up and down to the. No, so like, I mean, you spend 17 hours in all the training. There should be something that says, hey, you finished the Ironman competition.
So they do have a finisher shirt, T-shirt. It's nice. They ask you for your size when you sign up. And it's probably they're going to be the wrong size now because I lost so much weight. But I even went down a size. I may have to go to medium now, but they have a finisher medal. You have to finish the race through the chute to get that finisher medal, and it's something most people display. They have just, you know, with medals through, you know, track or cross country and stuff that you get. You'll have a display of that. So the half Ironman, they're all distinct. They're all very different. In fact, they have the Dopey Challenge in Disney World.
Oh,
so they have a 4-day event over in Disney World, and you can get 6 medals out of it. And it starts off with, let me get it right here, a 5K on the first day, then a 10K the very next day, and then a half marathon the third day. And then on the fourth day is the full marathon. You could sign up for any one of those races, and you get your individual medal for that. if you sign up for all 4, then there's a goofy challenge medal that you get and a dopey challenge. The dopey one's the people who are insane and do all of them at once in all the 4 days. But I actually got my son, he wants to really do it. And we were going to sign up for this January to go out there to Disney World and do it because Disneyland doesn't have full marathon.
Oh.
They have up to the half. And then, so you don't get the 6 medals. And that's what I want the 6 medals and 6 shirts is what I want.
Well, that's because I was going to ask you, where do you go from here? Are there other things? Once you've done this, I mean, are there things you're thinking about doing like, you're going to do the beta breakers? I mean,
no, nobody wants to see me do that.
Too many outfits.
But you know what I mean? Is it kind of firing you up because you feel better, health wise, you feel better. And I mean, are there other things like that, like the Disney World? Are there things that you've thought about? Hey, if I can do this, what else can I do?
Well, that's what I want to do is the dopey one. And we looked into it. And unfortunately, my son he's 15 right now. And the marathon is the only age restriction that he doesn't meet. So he meets the age restriction for the half marathon, but he can't meet the it's 18 and older for the marathon. I don't know why. People they want to have kids live or something. Yeah, something like that.
I don't know. Minor detail.
But I agreed. Pretty much had an agreement with him that I'm not going to go do it until he's 18. So it'll be 2027 when we go out there to do that, and that'll be fun. But I think after this one, I'm looking at maybe just doing the CIM, the California International Marathon in December, if I'm up to it. And then I'm getting ready to sign up for the half Ironman in Oceanside, California in April of next year. And it's only half the distances, so I'll be pretty good with that. And I just have to do some minor maintenance training. But the cool thing about that one is I get to ride the bike route is through Camp Pendleton. Brinker Base Camp Pendleton.
Well, there'll be some memories.
Yeah, I'll cry a little bit.
PTSD, you'll fall off the bike. No, don't yell at me.
Yeah, so it starts off, it's an ocean swim, 1.2 mile swim, and then 56-mile bike ride. So that's all easy stuff. I've already done all that. I mean, but and then the half marathon after that, along pretty much down Oceanside, you pretty much get to see the ocean the whole time.
So have you found that you favor one of them over the other? I mean, is the running really the one that...
No, it's evil.
Running's the worst, right?
It's the cheapest of all 3 of them, but it's still evil. It's
because it's only your body.
Yeah, and I have to go run an hour after work today too to finish off my day.
How are you fitting it all in? Because this was the challenge. So I've run marathons before, and the challenge is always the training time. So when you're training, like you have 21-mile training runs for a marathon, and you're basically running a marathon. You're like, okay, well, here goes my Saturday because I'm going to need to take, I'm not a 5-minute mile. I'm going to need to take 5 hours to run this.
So 4 o'clock's my friend, 4 a.m. Yeah, and that's when I try to get my swims in. I have to get those in early. Gym opens at 4, so I can, get at least everything done before the old people show up and take over the pool.
Water aerobics might do you some good.
Yeah, I don't want you talking like that because I might be.
Did you see Fish there this week?
No, he's not up early enough.
I get up at 3, so I have to put up with the swimmers.
Yeah, exactly, those guys.
So, of the 3, do you have a favorite? I realize when you're challenged with doing it, it's not like it's a fun thing. Like, I'm just going to go for a swim. Right? Or I'm just going to go for a morning run. I mean, it's all training for you now. Everything. And but is there one that you favor over the others?
Is there one you hate less than the rest?
Thank you, Kelly. It makes it a lot easier. I think biking.
What's the least evil?
I think the biking is least evil. Yeah. And it's one of those, it's the most expensive part of it, but it's kind of fun to be out there on your own power, and it's really fun. You know what's really fun is passing people on e-bikes. Oh, yeah. That is so satisfying because they're limited at a certain. Once they get up to a certain speed, they're limited at how much the battery could propel them. So it's like they're limited to whatever speed that they can produce at that point, and it's fun to pass them at like 25 miles an hour under my own power. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
You smile and wave
until there's a hill. And then they passed me again. But other than that, I had that experience on the American River bike trail last time I went. And from Beals Point, it's a downhill for about 7 minutes, straight downhill. So I'm doing 30 miles an hour, 40, upwards to 40 on some points, way faster than the speed limit on the bike trail. But I realized after being in the Marines for 4 years that last part coming back up is going to suck so bad.
And you went down. That was fun.
And it was, and
They should do the down as the last part.
Yeah, they never do.
And 3 hours later, it came true. It was horrible. And but at the end, when I was done with 56 miles, I felt great. Yeah. And even the next day, I still felt like that. It was almost like the runner's high that you get. I still felt it the next day, and it was great.
Well, I think that's the miracle, too, of training. Like you put in the training time and you're like, oh, I ramped up slowly. I can do this. Yeah. And now I don't feel terrible. Whereas, weren't we talking earlier? You had to go out and do a 2 mile run, like couch to 2 mile. And we're like, well, what am I thinking?
Yeah. I mean, I was 62 and it's like nobody runs at 62 unless they like running
not
and they run. And it was like I had to find an app. It's a walk run till you can, get where you can do it. But once you do it, you feel really good. It's like, man, I passed, cut time off, you get so many minutes to complete it. It was an Army thing. And I, but at first I was thinking, you just don't know. You think, I'm 62, but I'm in pretty good shape. I'd be able to run 2 miles. I mean, how far is 2 miles? Did you ever during the course of it think, I could run that. That can't be that far until you started doing it.
Yeah. Well, no, once you're to that point, you're like, it's only another quarter mile. And that quarter mile takes a long time in your mind.
Yeah. But then do you start doing that really fun thing where you're like, I could actually run from here to Sam's Club because I've already run that distance, right?
Yeah, we just have going to run up to Sam's Club. You literally do, right?
You do that. Yeah. You go, oh, it's only 4 miles. I could run that.
Well, I was thinking, so I had to do an hour run, and I'm like, okay, my wife wanted to go to the Asian store in Olivehurst, and we live in Yuba City, and I'm like, well, I got an hour run, and from there to there it's about 5.5 miles. I could probably run over there. She could pick me up. I'm like, no, I got to stop that. We'll drive over there. Drive. Yeah, but I was thinking of like running over the bridge, but dealing with traffic and all the cross traffic on Calusa, it would take all the fun out of running because I'd be standing at stoplights waiting.
Yeah, that's true.
So you have to know about Kona, and you said that it's by invitation only, right? To get there.
Based on your performance.
But have you looked at that and thought, God, I'd love to do that just because of where it's at? And I mean, are there other places like that you think I'd like to, because it's location, not just I'd like to run Ironman, but are there locations that you think I'd really like to do it there?
There are. So the Kona one was where Ironman started in Hawaii, but there's the one in Canary Islands, which would be awesome. I think it'd just be awesome there. And anything in Europe, there's one in England that you could run. Terrible bike course, absolutely horrible bike course, but lots of hills, lots of wind. Wind is your enemy. Hills are your enemy. It's just a horrible time, but apparently it's a nice scenery.
That's the trade-off.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So your wife loves it. We're going to the Canary Islands, baby. You're going on a cruise. I am not.
Yeah. I'll be cruising and
so there's a bicycle,
but there's actually quite a few spectators at the Ironman. Like family, friends, they want to watch you suffer. Yeah. And it's a different vibe and energy. It's like way different than training from what I've heard. I don't know. I've never actually done a triathlon, so I've never done anything like that before. So I just said I was going to go all in with the granddaddy of them all and do the full Ironman. And most people start off with a sprint or an Olympic distance or even the half Ironmans, this 70.3. So it's, most people start off with that. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go in.
All in.
The whole thing, yeah.
Yeah. So when is it? Did we talk about this?
Kelly, he sounds like you.
I know. I'm an all-in person.
I know you're like. I know you're over there thinking I can do that.
I'm like, when is this? How much time do I have to train?
You have about 5 months left. It's October 27th, I think. You just start running. So
we'll go film that.
Yeah, right. October 27th.
I think it's October 27th. It's a Saturday. miserable day, but it'll be fine. The weather's been horrible the last 2 years for the Ironman in Sacramento. But last year it was an epic downpour during the bike route.
Wow.
I mean, it was just the whole transition zone was a lake.
Oh yeah, pure misery.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it looked horrible. And then everything's wet, so they were running their marathon in wet gear and wet shoes and wet socks, and I said, I want to do that.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
Here he is.
Yeah. I don't know. Call me crazy.
Yeah.
But I feel like you gave yourself plenty of training time, which is huge.
Yeah, no, that is. And so I'm only at 8 hours or 9 hours this week. And then next week will be 10, but it eventually ramps up to 20 hours.
I was going to say, when does this become your full-time job?
In a couple months, in about 3 months.
Yeah.
It will be.
It really does.
And then you have some tapering off, so your body gets, some time to rest and repair itself before you do your full Ironman. And then you're just pretty much in a hospital for the next week.
I'm telling you, training-wise, I've run marathons with perfect training and not even been sore. And I've run marathons where I slacked on training and
paid for it.
You're like, I am not going to be walking for days.
Well, we're actually doing the Spirit Half Marathon this Saturday as an office. Well, some people from the office are doing it. My wife's going to run the 10K. We got another wife that's doing the 5K, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of us that are running the half marathon.
Okay.
And so that's kind of a thing I could just kind of pushed out there to the squad and said, hey, who wants to do this, in an effort to, also help them stay healthy too.
Yeah.
So when you went to your wife and said, I want to do the Iron, since she obviously runs, what was her response to that, Brian? It's like, I want to do this. Did she?
She's like, yeah, do whatever you want.
Just don't ask
She's
me.
Like, all this time you'll be at training? Oh,
no. So she do whatever you want, but she didn't realize the scope and the magnitude of what the race was. And then she started figuring it out, and she's like, oh, you're going to do that? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, are you sure? I'm like, I hope so.
Yeah.
So stick with me, baby.
Yeah.
We can do it. Right?
No, but she's seen my transformation too, and she likes it, other than the fact that I haven't been weightlifting nearly as much and keeping my arms as big as they used to be. But that
is a transition.
It is.
Because the goal is not upper body strength for this in anything.
Mm-mm.
Well,
all
maybe
endurance.
A little bit the swimming, but really.
Yeah. The good thing about the swim is it's a downstream swim, and it's actually it's considered a fast swim because of the current. Oh, that's the only saving grace that I have.
That's what I was wondering when you do the ocean swim now. Like that is
what
going to be
when
the
you go to the
challenge.
ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be a challenge. So the Oceanside one is in the ocean. They have Santa Cruz, a half Ironman, that's ocean. But I'm actually going to go down for training for work next month in June, and I'm there for 2 nights. The training's 1 day, so I have time to go swim in the ocean.
Oh,
and I'm going to do it too.
It's going to be a little chilly.
I have a wetsuit. It's fine. That's something I paid for. It's part of the bill.
Yeah, I tell people, you're going to swim in Northern California, you might want to consider a wetsuit. Yeah. That ocean is not warm. It's not like I've gone to Costa Rica. It's like you're in bath water. Mm-hmm. It's crazy, right? Comparatively. It's cold. Our ocean's cold.
Yeah, no, it is. The Pacific is definitely cold, but even the American River in October is still 72 degrees, which sounds warm until you're in it for an hour. And so it's a wetsuit race still. So that's luckily, if the water temperature gets too high, then they don't let you use wetsuits. And wetsuits are actually really good for you because they have buoyancy, especially in the hips and the leg area, and keep you in that right position to be more hydrodynamic.
Yeah.
And more efficient in the water. And without that, people struggle, without the wetsuit, they start having issues and with their times, suffering pretty bad.
Yeah. China. Yeah.
Are you currently swimming with a wetsuit on?
No, I've done it a couple times. And my times actually drop about 10 to 15 seconds.
I was wondering if it slows you.
No, it speeds up.
Oh, okay.
They drop. It's for the better. Yeah. Because it puts your body in that right position.
Yeah.
Instead of dragging your hips or something like that, and that creating drag. It's like sticking the oar in the water when you're out kayaking. It just kind of breaks. That's exactly what your body's doing when it's hanging too low.
I'm telling you. Are you buying a wetsuit this week?
Yeah. I think I'm past.
You got 5-ish months. Come on, you got
we
5
got
months
time.
to do this.
Come on, Fish.
Yeah, did they have a 73-year-old age group for
Yeah,
this?
they do. They go up
do.
to like 90 something.
Yeah.
Gosh,
I don't know if they make it, but I mean,
I was going to say they just have the funeral at the end.
yeah.
they have the funeral plan. There's a guy blowing taps as you finished.
But they have the special needs groups too. So
Yeah.
they have the wheelchairs and
Oh, yeah.
the assisted, people, mobility assisted, race chairs and stuff. And so it's somebody else is pushing them, running the marathon by pushing them.
Those
in
are the
in
ones that
chair.
are just like, I'm crying on the side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if they could do it, Fish, you can do it by yourself.
Yeah.
Or you maybe Kelly could push you.
I could have Kelly push me.
Yeah.
So this is starting to sound okay now. I can do this, right?
Yeah.
Man, where do you go? You go from here. Right now, you don't think past that, other than like you said with the Disney World one. But really, you've got to be pretty focused, Brian, to know, all right, this is coming up. I intend on doing it. It sounds like you've even got the training plan down, right?
Yeah.
These are the things I'm going to do. These are my goals. These are my targets. Are you the type of person that normally lives that way with goals and targets? Or is even that, the whole preparation's been new to you?
Well, this is pretty new to me, but I do like goals and target dates and things like that. It kind of pushes me to actually do stuff. But, beyond this, I'm not sure. If I do well enough to go to Kona, that'd be awesome. If I don't, then I'll find another race. Maybe not the California Ironman, but go on to a different Ironman. There's like 36 of them worldwide or so, different locations,
Never thought
locales.
that.
Maybe not Texas, but they have one in Florida. They have one in Arizona. The Arizona one's pretty horrible too, but
Heat.
A lot of humidity, a lot of heat going on with
Yeah,
the
and
Florida one and your.
the bike route's pretty atrocious too. It's just a 2-loop thing, and it's a lot of uphill, and it'll kill you twice.
Yeah.
So the closest one for us really is Sacramento.
I believe it's the only full Ironman one here in California.
And so, I mean, you're fortunate you're close. Like it's not in LA, right, or someplace where you'd be having to, although you'd still train close before you went, right?
Oh yeah, you train
Yeah.
as much as you could, locally.
Well, man, I appreciate you coming on and talking about this. This is all, I got a whole new respect for you, Brian. Not that I didn't respect you before, but I love stuff like that. Like Kelly had told me the story about how she ended up at the fire department, right? Over a phone number. She saw a phone number and thought, I can do that. And she has this mental exercise of, I'm not going to let myself talk me out of it. And I meant to ask you that, kind of a last question. Were there places where you were like, I am not going to let myself talk me out of doing this?
I've actually had people try to talk me out of doing it. So it's kind of frustrating because some of those people I've known for a long time, and they're like, you don't even know what that's going to do to your body. It's like, I know what it's going to do to my body. And, they're trying to say how it's, how you're not prepared and you've never ran this far before, you've never biked this far before, so you don't understand it, and just trying to talk you down. And it's like, I just need to shut them out and then just ignore them. Yeah. There's a couple people who have done that, and there's a couple really supportive people, and everybody else is like, you're crazy. And I'm okay with the crazy part, but it's since like I said, since I already paid for it, and then more importantly, I've already told everybody I'm doing it. Now I have to do it. So you
have to follow through.
And I get mad when there's a day that I can't do my training, and so I'll double it up the next day and make it even more miserable the next day. I do cardio 6 days a week. I have Mondays my only day off of cardio, and I usually lift weights that day. But it's just everything's. I'm actually happy when I only have to run an hour for a day. That's it. That's all I got to do. That's great.
When I only have to run an hour.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, sweet. Just an hour.
Yeah.
I hate to admit it. I'm thrilled that my office is on the 3rd floor and we have an elevator. Yeah. I mean,
we got to get you taking the stairs. We got to get you taking the stairs.
So listen, I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank Brian for being here. What a great adventure. And if you're out there and you're thinking, I think I'd like to do the Ironman, and if your name is Kelly Trudell, you probably are thinking that.
I'll tell you about training later.
She's going to find out where Brian's training and follow him around. But man, this is just great. This is the kinds of things that go on in our area, in the Yuba Sutter area. People that are doing extraordinary things for whatever reasons. I was actually pleasantly surprised that Brian did it because he made a commitment, and he's a guy that's going to stick to his commitment. And we are going to have him back on, right,
Yes,
Kelly?
absolutely.
When he's done, we have to have him back on, and after he's had a bit of recoup time, which he doesn't come in, can't hardly walk, right? And we'll do that. But we'll be right back. Thanks for watching.
Hi, my name is Denise Landis, and I'm the owner of Edible Memories Bakery here on 3rd Street in downtown Marysville. We facilitated the market every Thursday on 3rd. We have food trucks, vendors, and live music every Thursday from 3 to 7:30 here on the corner of 3rd and D Street in downtown historic Marysville. Our vision was to bring an atmosphere of community, and that takes you coming out and joining in the fun with us. We hope to see you here.
All right. Hey, thanks for listening, coming back. And I just, this is being the first show we've done together as host and co-host and just hanging out, what a great guest that was.
I know.
Kelly, I'm worried about you.
As you should be. I know you don't know me that well, but I think you already know me well enough.
That the wheels were, there was smoke coming out your ears.
I know. I love a good challenge, and I've run marathons before, and I was just like, that Iron Man has got my wheels turning. And when he said I asked, like training wise, when he said he was not a swimmer, because that would be my thing, right? Like, I'm not a strong swimmer. He said he wasn't a strong swimmer. My brain's like, okay.
Well, that's the thing. It'd be one thing for somebody to say, hey, I'm going to run a marathon.
Yeah.
It's running. This is training in 3 different areas.
3 different areas that are totally different.
You just, his personality in that, it's so, I would never walk up to him and go, are you running the Ironman? I mean, it's like you wouldn't do that. You're doing that, but it's just like it. So that was fun though, huh?
But I love that he is. And I love that. I loved the part where Brian said that, that there's people that are like, no, you can't do that, because that is a great life lesson.
Absolutely.
There are people that you can safely share your dreams with. And there are people that when you share your dreams with, they attach their fears to them. And you go, like he said, nope, I'm just not going to listen to them. You can't listen to those people because they'll attach their fears, and it has nothing to do with you, but it's sometimes enough to talk us out of it. And I loved that he just thought, nope, those are the people I'm pushing aside and I'm running it anyways.
Yeah, I want you to know, Kelly, I have no fear in you pushing me.
I know. I'm like, we'll have snacks for you. Like, I think we'll be just fine.
Cheetos, right?
He's eating Cheetos. Excuse me, please stop at the 7-Eleven. Yeah, he can feed me while I push you. It'll be perfect. Now, the swim has me a little worried. Do I just drag you behind me?
I don't know how they work that, right? I'm on a raft or something, a kayak with the guy in the back, right? Well, listen, this is fun. Right?
So fun.
And so I'm really glad you decided to do this. And
me too.
Really thrilled having Brian Danielson as our very first guest. And you would just think, well, this is a CHP officer. And I've said this before, sometimes people just see the uniform. They don't see the guy behind it. Yeah. And if you didn't get a good view of a real guy, real family guy, I love the story about he's going to wait for his son to be old enough to do a competition together. What a great dad. And then his wife, I didn't realize his wife's running a marathon, right? Or a 5K, whatever it was that she's running. And so it's like, what a great family. Yeah. It was just a great picture, right? And so...
Well, I think it's just fun, too, to get to know the human side of somebody. And like you said, you see the uniform, but you don't see what's behind it for a lot of people. And so to have somebody that goes, I think I want to run an Ironman.
Yeah.
And then go, I'm going to do it because I told somebody and now I have to. I love it.
When I came home and told my wife I'm going back in the military at 62, and that I'm going to officer candidate school. I met my wife. We were both enlisted, and I met her, and we got married 52 years ago. Anyway, she said, "Why would you want to become an officer? You hated those guys." And I was like, I didn't hate them. I just didn't think they knew how to do it. Now I'm going to find out how many people think I don't know how to do it. Right? And it's a great thing. So anyway, this is a good one. Great way to wrap up our very first one.
Absolutely.
We're going to be doing another one. I understand we have a guy coming in our next one.
Yeah.
That is a coffee aficionado. Is that the right word?
I think so. And I don't even properly know how to describe him because he knows coffee like nobody else.
What do they call the person that knows wine?
Sommelier.
Sommelier.
Is he a
is he
I don't know.
Is he a coffee sommelier? Anyway, we want to thank you for tuning in. It's been In the Tank with Fish and Kelly, and I appreciate Kelly. And next time you see us, Kelly be sweating because she will have ran up and down the stairs by the to do that. Again, thanks for watching In the Tank with Fish.